first off, if we start with you, Kerrie, Sagittarius went into Pluto back in '95. Could you tell us a little bit about...
No, it was Pluto going into Sagittarius.
This is why I'm not an astrologer. Could you tell us a little bit about just, you know, Pluto and Sagittarius and what that meant, and then what's going to be coming up in February 2008?
Well, first of all, I'd have to say that every planet has its own has its own effect on our psyche in different ways. And Pluto has a lot to do with our security patterns, and these are very unconscious security patterns. And Pluto has a very slow movement as it whizzes around the sun, and so it affects generations of people at a time through the sign that it's passing through. Pluto has been in Sagittarius for a while now, since 1995, and there was a big change when it went into Sagittarius. That opened up the internet, because Sagittarius is about information and knowledge, and it also expands energy. And so all of a sudden, everyone had to have a computer in their homes. We didn't have computers in our homes before 1995. It was a sudden explosion. Bill Gates very cleverly used that timing, maybe he has an astrologer, I don't know, to release Windows 95, which was bundled with Internet Explorer, which was an amazing marketing sort of coup for him. And that generated the whole internet. Now, this is why we have enormous amount of information on the internet now. You can tap into information from any culture, from any country, on any subject, which has never been available to ordinary human beings before. The energy is going to change quite dramatically, I think, in 2008, when Pluto moves out of Sagittarius and into Capricorn. And because Sagittarius is an expanding energy, Capricorn is a contracting energy. And this is going to bring up a lot of issues of things to do with responsibility, the right use of energy. We could find some of our civil liberties might start closing in a bit more. We might be losing a lot of the freedoms. Heavens knows we might end up paying a lot for the internet. I really don't know how that will work, but it will have positive and negative effects on both sides. It will be in a positive way. It's going to make sure that people who are in business are working responsibly, or they will crumble. Same with governments. On other levels, it might mean that people will start looking outside themselves for more authoritative figures or religions or something that's going to give them some frameworks and boundaries. At the moment, I think people have lost their sense of spirituality in a lot of ways, and are looking for a concrete structure that they can work with. And the New Age hasn't really offered that. It's opened them up to new possibilities and ideas, but the structure isn't there that we get with traditional philosophies that are age-old philosophies. So a lot of people will be looking for those sorts of things as well. But it will be a big change, and we will feel it, and I think it will have repercussions all over the world. And you can see right now there are movements starting to happen in the world, which is bringing responsibility to big multinational corporations. The Enlightened Business Institute is a very successful company in the United States that works internationally, that works with Buddhist principles in business to help business find how to achieve their goals without the struggle and the push, but how to work with the cause and effect principle. That is what karma really means. It's action. It means cause and effect. If you want good effects, you have to create the causes. So these sorts of tools will become much more, I think, endemic in our society at that time, from that period onwards.
Okay, it's about February 2008?
About February 2008, around about that time. It will move into there, and it'll be there for, I'd have to look at I've got a little note down on the dates. I'll have to look at those for you later on as we talk about more of those sorts of things. But it'll be there for a while, so it'll be a big change. But it's happening to the mass population, and everyone will feel it on some level.
Okay. Now, if viewers out there listening to you sharing that information, and they might say, well, yeah, okay, that's well and good, but we've got some huge multinationals out there.
That's right.
How can that changing of a planet, and if they don't start to develop an understanding of who we are and more sensitivity towards people, how can that bring down?
I think it will be.
How would that happen?
People really have more power than they realise, I think. And I think this is, and also people, individuals within those companies are going to go through changes themselves. And people are starting to wake up, because the old systems won't work anymore. The way that they've been actually, if people have been out there sort of doing underhanded things, or we've seen some companies come down already, some very large ones, that's right.
Australian Wheat Board.
That's right. And this is just like, it's sort of like a beginning, because we're sort of moving towards that energy, so it's just like a little precursor where this sort of consciousness is starting to change. Because the people, we have to remember that multinational companies are run by human beings. And we tend to forget that there is someone behind the desk And there is a board of directors and they're real people. And this is part of what Neil's work is about, of course, is waking these people up to what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they can do it better. And this is, I think, is going to be a domino effect, because it's starting to happen now where multinationals are listening and they are running these sorts of gatherings. They're having these big conferences with big multinational companies all over the world are starting to look at business ethics. And ethics will be a new word that will come into our vocabulary from about 2008. It's going to be a new term.
And those that aren't are toppling.
Will topple. They will just topple. It'll just be the way that they'll go. That's right. Saturn has, even metaphysically you could say, Saturn has a lot to do with reaping what we sow. So what people are sowing now, they will reap during that particular, it'll be about, I think, 16 years, I think, something like that. I think it's going to be in.
Oh, it's going to be in for good. Yes, about that 16
about that,
years.
I think that's 16 years
right.
it will be in Capricorn. So it'll take all that time for the whole process to unfold, but it'll be a very interesting time.